Today, I'll guide you through modeling a fan using commands like array for objects rotating around an axis, bevel, and subdivision surface. Alright, let's start by creating the base of the fan. Download an image of a fan to use as a reference for our modeling. Adjust the position of the reference image so that it's aligned with the x-axis. Then move the reference slightly away from the object to make it easier to work with. Okay. First, press Shift+A to create a sphere. Press Alt+Z to enable X-ray mode. Use S to scale the object down to match the reference image. Then press S again and Z to scale it along the vertical Z-axis. You can combine the keys X, Y, or Z to scale along the desired axis. Once the scaling matches the reference, press Alt+Z to disable X-ray mode. Press to switch to the front view. Enable X-ray mode again with Alt+Z. Select points, and delete the lower half of the sphere. Now, select the center vertex and delete it. Press to switch to the top view. Select the area as shown in the video. And duplicate it by pressing Shift+D. Right-click to reset its position. Press P to separate it into a new object. Switch to face selection mode by pressing 3. Hold Alt and click to select a loop of faces. To select multiple face loops, hold Alt plus Shift and click on other loops. Press X to delete them. Now, take the duplicated object from earlier. Duplicate it to make 5 copies, and arrange them to rotate around the central axis. First, we need to set up the 3D cursor and align the object's origin with the axis of the object we want to rotate. Right-click on the object. Choose Set Origin, and select Origin to 3D Cursor to align the origin with the cursor's position on the axis. Next, we add a modifier. Go to the Modifiers panel and select Array. Set the duplication count to 5 and make the duplicates rotate around the original object. This method is both quick and accurate. If you want to adjust the parameters, such as adding or removing duplicates, it can be done easily. Doing this manually can be much more challenging when you need to make changes later. Alright, now let's start creating the stand for the fan. Select the middle edge loop. Then press F to fill it. Press to switch to front view. Use E to extrude it upward and Z to ensure it extrudes along the Z-axis. Press I to inset it slightly. Extrude it upward again using E. Press S to scale it down to match the reference image. Continue by pressing I to inset it further. Then use E to extrude it to the desired height according to the reference. Here, I notice that the fan stand is slightly smaller compared to the reference image. So, I'll select the edge loops at the top and bottom. Then scale them up or down slightly. After that, I'll use the Move tool to adjust the height to match the reference image. This step is quite simple. You just need to press E to extrude it upwards. Press I to inset it slightly. And then scale it. Just follow the video. I'm going through it very slowly so everyone can follow along. In this step, press E to extrude it upwards slightly. Then right-click to return it to its original position. Next, press S, hold the left mouse button, and drag outward to scale it to match the reference image. Press I to inset it slightly. Then press E to extrude it upwards again. And that's it. Okay. Now let's create the fan blades. First, press Shift plus A, select a cylinder. Rotate it 90 degrees along the x-axis. And use the Move tool to position it properly. Then, press S to scale it to match the reference image. And use S and Y to adjust its length to make it slimmer. Like a real fan blade. Press the key and select Top View to look at it from above. Remember to apply scale and apply rotation to the object. Because if you don't, using the array modifier for rotation around the object may result in errors. Now press K to activate the knife tool. And click on two vertices to create a cut. This new line will define the blade shape for our fan. Exit the current mode and select the edge you just cut. Press Shift plus D to duplicate it, creating a new object. Then, Press P and choose Selection to separate it into a completely independent object. Press Tab to return to object mode. Select the newly created edge. And press Tab again to re-enter edit mode. Now, use the Extrude tool E to extend it, shaping it into a fan blade. Press 1 to switch to vertex select mode and press G to move the vertices to the position of the fan blade as shown in the reference. Press Ctrl+R and use the middle mouse scroll wheel to add 3 loop cuts. Then go to Add Modifier. Select Subdivision Surface and increase the viewport levels to 3 and the render levels to 3 as well. After that, select the vertices and press G to move them to match the shape of the reference image. Press Alt+Z to enable X-ray mode, allowing you to see the reference image behind. Once you finish making adjustments, you can turn it off. Here, we will add a loop cut and move it close to the bottom to create a seamless connection with the fan blade. Without this, the fan blade would look very odd. Select the bottom edge and scale it down slightly to make it look better. Okay. Now we'll use the array modifier to create 5 fan blades rotating around the cylinder. Steps 1. First, go to Add Modifier and select Solidify to slightly thicken the fan blade. 2. Move the Solidify modifier above the Subdivision Surface modifier in the modifier stack so the smooth edges will also affect the outer edges. Adjust the thickness to your preference. Press the key. Select Front View. And check for any mistakes. Select the fan blade object. Go to Add Modifier. And choose Array Modifier. Set Object Offset and select the cylinder as the reference object for rotation. Enter the number of fan blades you want to create. Press R and adjust with the mouse to see the changes. In the rotation settings, divide 360 degrees by the number of blades to calculate the rotation angle for each blade. Once the fan blades are complete, we'll move on to creating the protected cage for the fan. Press Shift+A to add a UV sphere. Then set the rotation axis to X, 90 degrees. Use the Move tool to position it so it aligns with the reference image. After that, press S to resize it as desired. Press the key and choose the left view to adjust the protected cage. Press S and Y to scale it along the Y-axis, making it narrower. Finally, move the sphere outwards slightly so it completely covers the fan blades. Switch to vertex mode and select the central vertex of the fan cage. Press X, then choose Delete Vertex. Repeat this step for the backside. Now, select the edge loop. Press F to fill it. Then press G to move it slightly inward. Select the outer edge. Press Ctrl+B to bevel it into 2 to 3 circular loops, making the corners smoother. Do the same for the back. But note that the back differs slightly from the front. Follow along with the video for guidance. Next, let's create the fan's rim. Hold Alt and left-click the middle edge loop to select it. Press Ctrl+B to bevel it. And use the middle mouse wheel to adjust to about 2 loops. Press Shift+D to duplicate it. Then left-click to place it back in its original position. Press P and select Selection to separate it into a new object. Now, select the fan cage object again. Select the cover. Press Shift+D to duplicate it. Then press P and choose Selection to separate it into a new object. Now, press 2 to switch to edge selection mode. Hold Alt and click on an edge to select an edge loop. Then hold Shift to add more edge loops, selecting them one by one from the front to the back. We select the edge loops from front to back, leading 2 loops to create a connection with the fan guard. Then press X to delete the faces. At this point, we've almost finished the most challenging parts of the fan. Now, let's thicken the fan guard a bit to complete it. Select the plastic cover. Press Shift+D to duplicate it. Then press P and choose Selection to separate it into a new object. Return to Object mode and select the newly separated cover. Switch back to Edit mode to extrude it upwards. Then press Ctrl+B to bevel it. Select one edge. Press A to select all the fan blades. Go to the Object menu and choose Convert to Mesh. Then increase the bevel slightly to adjust the thickness as you prefer. Alright. At this point, we're 70% done. Now, let's create the motor for the fan to complete it. This part will be kept simple. Let's get started. Let's make the fan rim a bit thicker here. Select the fan rim. Then go to Add Modifier and choose Solidify. Increase the thickness value slightly to make it thicker. Adjust the thickness to your preference. Now let's create the motor cover at the back of the fan. Select the circular face. Press Shift plus D to duplicate it. Then use the Move tool to pull it out slightly. Press P and choose Selection to separate it into a new object. Press S to scale it up slightly. Then press E to extrude it out. And specify the Y-axis to keep it aligned. Exit to Object Mode by pressing Tab. Then press Ctrl plus A to apply the scale. And do the same for the rotation to ensure accuracy. Press Tab again to return to Edit Mode. Select the face. And press Ctrl plus B to bevel it into a rounded shape. Scroll the mouse wheel to increase the number of edge loops for smoothness. Now press and select Bottom View to create the fan's rotation shaft. Select the objects that block the view of the fan cover and press H to hide them. Press 2 to switch to Edge Selection mode. Then press Ctrl plus R to add a loop cut. Use Ctrl plus B to bevel it, splitting it into multiple segments. Scroll the middle mouse wheel to adjust the number of loop cuts. Next, press 3 to switch to Face Selection mode. Select 2 faces and move them downward to create the fan's rotation shaft. Initially, I plan to add a central pivot so the fan could tilt up and down. But since the video is already quite long, we'll keep it simple. Select the 2 bottom faces. Press S to scale. Then Z to scale along the Z-axis. And finally press 0 to align both faces to the same plane. From here, just follow the video. Let's keep it simple, I don't want to overwhelm you. That's it. We've finished modeling the fan. Not too difficult, right? Ah, we're missing the control button for the fan's oscillation. Press Ctrl plus R to add a loop cut. Select the middle point. And press Ctrl plus Shift plus B to bevel it. Use the mouse wheel to create a diamond shape. Then right-click. Go to Loop Tools. And select Circle to form a circle. Press R to rotate it slightly for a cleaner mesh appearance. Next, press X. Choose Face. And delete it. Then, press F to fill it into a single flat surface. Use I to inset the circle slightly. Press E to extrude it downward. Inset it again. And press E to extrude it upward to form the button. Press E again to extrude upward, but right-click to reset it to its original position. Then press S to scale it outward slightly. Finally, press E once more to extrude it upward. That's good enough, done. Here, we go to Add Modifier and apply the bevel command, so that when we smooth the object later using the subdivision surface command, it won't deform the object. Now let's create the fan's rotation axis. Select the center circle. Press Shift plus D to duplicate it. Then press P to separate it into a new object. Enter Edit Mode and extrude it slightly to make it longer. If it's too long, adjust it to make it shorter. Once that's done, we'll proceed to color it. Follow the coloring steps as shown in the video. In this step, I didn't enable X-ray mode, so it only selected half of the pillar. You can press Alt plus C to enable X-ray mode. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video. If you found it helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new videos from the channel. Have a great day and see you in the next videos.